Hello guys, have you been guessing where you can get the best movie recap? Well, it's here on Riveted. Welcome to my channel and another exciting movie recap. Today, I will be giving a recap on the movie In Time. In Time is an American science fiction action movie released in 2011. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell. Grab a popcorn or soda and let's get started. The first scene began as Will checked the time he had left, which was less than 24 hours. The time was embedded in his left hand and kept ticking. He got up from his bed, looked through the window, and went to meet his mom in the kitchen. He gave her the wine he got for her and wished her a happy 50th birthday. They danced for a minute, and his mom reminded him that she should have grandchildren already. Obviously, he wasn't interested in the conversation when his mother told him about her friend's Bella daughter, who always asked about him. He said he had no time for a girlfriend and there was no need to hurry. Will's mom had 3 days left. She gave him 30 minutes out of her time so he could get lunch and not be late for work. She told him she was going to work for 2 days so as to pay off their loans and wouldn't have much time left. She told Will to meet her at the bus stop the next day before her time runs out, and he agreed. Will was stopped by a girl named Maya on his way to work, whom he gave 5 minutes out of his time and ran quickly to the coffee shop afterward. He met with his friend and colleague named Boral at the coffee shop. They both complained about the increase in time of the coffee to the attendant. The attendant, who obviously wasn't ready for the talk, asked them if they wanted the coffee or if they wanted to reminisce, and they bought 2 cups of coffee. After work, Will noticed that he wasn't given his full payment, and when he challenged the payer, he was told that he didn't meet the quota. Will went into a club to search for Boral. He met a drunk Boral who told him about a man in the club who had a century to live, and he was the one who bought all the drinks. Will walked up to the man and told him to leave the club for his safety, but the man didn't seem to understand, and all he kept on saying was yes. Will tried to explain further why the man needed to leave, and suddenly a group of bad men came in, making everyone in the club run for their life, except the man and Will. Boral told Will not to interfere and leave the place with him, but Will told Boral to go home and that he wasn't going to do anything stupid while he watched the bad men and the man. The leader of the gang named Fortis challenged the man to a hand fight for his time. The man, physically shaken, accepted the challenge and asked for a minute. He went into the toilet to throw up, while one of Fortis's subordinates stood beside the door. Suddenly, Will hit the guard with the door, reached for the man, and pulled him out of the club to help him escape. Fortis saw this and ran out of the club with his subordinates. They entered the car and gave Will and the man a hot pursuit, but Will was able to escape with the man. Will got both of them into a building where they could hide till the following morning. He shoved the man into a chair and asked him what he was doing in that dangerous vicinity. To answer Will's question, the man introduced himself as Henry Hamilton, and Will introduced himself as Will Salas. The man offered Will a drink, which Will accepted, drank, and returned. Will was able to detect that Henry was from New Greenwich, and he told Henry that he'll get him out of the place in the morning. Henry asked Will how old he is in real time, and Will said he was 28. Henry said he is 105. Will told Henry to be careful if he wants to see 106, but Henry explained that he wasn't really interested in living anymore because nobody should be immortal. Henry told Will that for a few to be immortal, many must die. He said that the system believed that if everyone lives forever, there will be no place to put them as they keep on multiplying. He said there were time zones everywhere, and the price of things increased in the ghetto to ensure that people were dying. But the truth is that there's enough time for everybody, and nobody deserved to die before their time. Henry asked Will what he would do if he had as much time as Henry does. Will said he'll stop watching it and he wouldn't waste it. Will told Henry to get some rest and that he would not steal his time. A new scene revealed that morning had come. Will was still sleeping, but Henry was awake. Henry quietly got out of the couch, reached for Will's hand, and transferred almost all of his time, 116 years, to Will. He kept 5 minutes for himself. Will woke up and he couldn't find Henry. He looked at the window and saw that Henry wrote a short note asking him not to waste Henry's time. Will looked through the window and he saw Henry sitting on a bridge. Henry was waiting for his time to run out so that he could fall into the river beneath. Will saw this and ran out of the building in order to stop Henry before Henry's time would run out, but he couldn't make it as Henry fell off when Will was close by. Will went to Borrell's house. He showed Borrell the time and explained how he got it. He gave Borrell 10 years as a compensation for the 10 years friendship they've had, and he told Borrell that he was going to take his mom to New Greenwich. They gave each other goodbyes, and he left. Will's mother paid her loan and wanted to take a bus to Dayton to meet Will, but unfortunately, the price had been increased to 2 hours, and she had just 1 hour and 30 minutes left. She ran all the way, asking for help as she ran, but couldn't get any. Will noticed that his mother wasn't in the bus, so he ran in the direction where she was to head out from. He saw her running towards him and shouting his name, and so he ran faster, but she couldn't make it as her time ran out a few seconds before Will was able to reach her. Will cried. A cop known as the timekeeper and his subordinates found Henry's body and wanted to know what happened to the time he had. Meanwhile, Will called for a cab to take him to New Greenwich. He went into a hotel and booked a suite while the timekeeper tried to track the time from Henry. He discovered that Will had it and that he was in New Greenwich. Will went to the casino and was asked to make a 1-year donation before he could be allowed in because he wasn't a member. He made the donation and joined a group of men playing poker. One of the men, named Philip Weiss, observed that Will was new and asked him why he didn't have a bodyguard. Will said it was because he believed he was amongst friends and was gambling away his inheritance. Philip challenged Will by betting 50 years at first and increased it once more, but Will won. Will met Philip's daughter, Sylvia, after he won. Her father introduced her to Will. She invited Will to a party on the morrow in her father's house, and he accepted the invitation. Will got a new car and drove to the party. At the party, Philip introduced Will to his mother-in-law and wife and told him that he'll come and find him later for the game. Sylvia found Will later in the party and asked for a dance. They danced while Sylvia asked if Will is really from time because she saw him run and it reminded her of the people from the ghetto. When Philip began to look for Sylvia, she and Will got out of the beach and went back into the party before Philip became suspicious of anything. The timekeeper arrived and prevented the game Philip and Will were to play. He took Will in for questioning and took the time from him, leaving him with 2 hours for booking and processing. Will used Sylvia to escape as he knocked the cops and guards out and used her as a shield to get out. The timekeeper gave Will's car a hot pursuit but later lost him. Will and Sylvia had an accident because Will was looking at a surveillance camera and didn't see the threat on the road. After the accident, both Will and Sylvia were unconscious. Fortis came to the accident scene and saw that Sylvia still had a lot of time. He took all the time and left her with 32 minutes when he saw the cop's vehicle. Will and Sylvia became conscious after a while. They got out of the car and they both ran to Borrell's house, but unfortunately Greta, Borrell's wife, told Will that Borrell wasted 9 years of his time and drank himself to death. Meanwhile, the timekeeper was already at the accident scene and told his subordinates to wait for Will to come to them. Will and Sylvia ran to the pawn shop where Sylvia exchanged her diamond earrings for 2 days and she and Will shared it. Will made Sylvia dial her father's number and he told Philip to give the phone to the timekeeper. He requested for 1,000 years to be sent to the timelines in Dayton, and then he would let Sylvia go home. He took Sylvia to his house to wait till the second morning. The two waited for the timeline to open and to see if Philip fulfilled their request. They found out that he didn't. Will told Sylvia that she could go home if she wanted to, and they both went into the street where Sylvia called her father. Sylvia suggested that she could cover up for Will so that he would be free from any charges of the timekeeper, but he declined. He gave her a gun and told her that he'll be watching while she makes the call. She kissed him and went over while Will sat on the other side. Unknown to him, the timekeeper saw him and was going to arrest or shoot him, but Sylvia saw the timekeeper while she was expressing her displeasure to her father. She yelled at Will to watch out and mistakenly shot the timekeeper. Will rushed to the timekeeper and saw that he was almost out of time. He gave him 4 hours and drove off with Sylvia in the timekeeper's car, leaving him on the street. They stopped a rich woman's ride and Will took her time but left her with a day and earrings. Sylvia stated that she didn't want to go home. Philip was in an online meeting with his business associates about the recent happenings when the timekeeper came in to inform him about the warrant arrest issued against his daughter Sylvia. He tried to bribe his way out, but the timekeeper didn't agree. Sylvia asked if Will was going to give people time if he had a lot of time, and he said yes. She told him she could help him get all the time he wanted. They took one of Sylvia's father's trucks and ran it into the time bank. They packed the time pack into a box and told everyone around to go in and take free time without ever worrying to pay back. They made 6 more heists in different time banks that belonged to Philip that week, and Will shared the time. Will and Sylvia booked all the rooms in a hotel to keep them discreet while the timekeeper traced them there. Will heard the sound of the cop's car and was suspicious that the timekeeper was around. He told Sylvia to put her clothes on, and they tried to escape, but they were spotted by the timekeeper's subordinate who tried to catch them but couldn't. The timekeeper chased them for a long time, but he couldn't catch them as they escaped in a bus after giving the driver extra time. They booked all the rooms in another hotel, but were spotted by a man while climbing the stairs. Fortis went about trying to know their location, and he threatened people. A man who was scared for his life gave Fortis their location. Meanwhile, the two had been posted all over town as criminals and were wanted by the cops. There was a 10 years time reward for anyone who catches them. Fortis broke into their apartment while Will and Sylvia were kissing each other. He made Sylvia sit beside him while his subordinates placed Will on a chair. Fortis challenged Will to a fight to get his time, and Will agreed. Will let Fortis have the upper hand in the beginning, and Fortis thought he was going to win, but when Will's time remained some seconds and Fortis wasn't concentrating, Will took a strong position and had the upper hand, draining and taking Fortis's time. He quickly took out the gun in his shoe without looking down and shot Fortis's subordinates, while Fortis' time ran out and he died. They ran out of the building, went to check the loan interests of people and saw that it had increased. Will said all the help they tried to render didn't work and only made matters worse. He wanted to give up and give in to the cops, but Sylvia didn't agree. He said the only solution was if they could get 1,000,000 years, which seemed impossible to him, but Sylvia had a plan. Sylvia pretended like she was ready to give in and went to meet her father. His guards tried to stop her, but he told them not to. Unknown to him, Will was disguised as one of the guards, and Will used the avenue to take him. Philip told the other guards to lower their guns as Sylvia and Will led him into the building. They took him into a safe where the 1,000,000 years time pack was kept. Sylvia told Will to input Darwin's birthday date as the password to the safe, and he unlocked it and took the time pack. They got out of the building while the cops were alerted. The timekeeper went in search of the two and spotted them on the other side of the road. He pursued them for a long time until they got to Will's neighborhood. Will gave Maya the time pack, while Will and Sylvia raised up their hands in surrender as he got to them, but before he could arrest them, people rushed in between as they heard that time was available at the timeline. Will and Sylvia used this to escape and were headed for Livingston. The timekeeper pursued them with a car and caught up with them on the way when they were a few minutes away from Livingston. But he wasn't able to arrest them as he ran out of time and died. Will and Sylvia ran to the timekeeper's car because they had a few seconds left. Will was faster and he got more time from the car. He got out of the car and ran to Sylvia, who was also running to meet him before her time would be up. Luckily, he was able to reach her in time and he gave her time. The movie came to an end as the people in Dayton now had a lot of time and could move to any time zone they wanted. Philip said it was over and the cops couldn't do anything other than go home. The reward for whoever catches Sylvia and Will was increased to 100 years. Will and Sylvia got out of a car in front of a very big time bank and were ready to begin their operation. The end. Alright guys, we have come to the end of End Time Movie Recap. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more movie recap. Make sure to always check in on Riveted for more exciting and detailed movie recap. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.